Alright, so this is the last lesson that we're going to do for Unit 2. This is just because we missed multiplying fractions last quarter, so before we move on to Unit 3, we're going to hit multiplying fractions. Unit 3 will be geometry, so that's what's starting next class. Anyway, for multiplying fractions, we have a warm-up here. Miranda is making cookies for our bake sale. She needs to make at least 3 batches of cookies. If one batch calls for a 1/4 cup of flour, how much flour does she need for 3 batches? So, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to draw a cup, I guess, that's split into quarters. So pretend this is my measuring cup. And I have 1/4 cup for one batch. But I need 3. So if this is 1, and I need 3 of them, well, I could do this a couple of ways. I could just duplicate it until I have 3 of them. But that doesn't tell me what this is in terms of the whole. Instead, what I'm going to do is add another 1/4 cup to the measuring cup I already have, which is what I'd do in real life. In real life, I'd say, well, there's 1/4. I need another 1/4, so that's 2. And then I need a 3rd 1/4, so that's 3. 3 quarters. And that's pretty easy because you didn't even make a whole cup yet. It gets a little more complicated when you get to how much flour would she need to make 6 batches, because then you're going to fill up your whole measuring cup and need to use another measuring cup or empty this one into your bowl and then use it again. So you need 6. So 1/4 times 6 would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I dump that into my bowl and I fill my measuring cup again. So that was 4. Now I have 5 and 6. So what I have is 1 whole and then 2 quarters, which can be simplified. You can see that half the cup is filled. So it's 1 1/2. 1 1/2 cups of flour. And this is what we're working on today. So we'll multiply fractions by whole numbers, and then we'll multiply fractions by other fractions, and we will have an exit card. So, it says, don't forget to fully simplify answers and convert improper fractions to mixed numbers. I mean, if you don't, you have the same answer technically, but a lot of places require that you simplify in order to get full credit. The reason being, you know, most people know what a 1/4 is. You can estimate, well, a 1/4, I can picture that in my head. Well, the thing is, let's say 225 out of 900 is also a 1/4. But it's harder to picture 225 out of 900. And that's why we simplify. So now we have 3 quarters. 3 groups of a 1/4. That's what multiplying is. 3 times 1/4, or 3/4, 3 quarters. If I drew that as a picture, well, that was ugly. 4 pieces. 4 boxes. I have 1 of them times 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 quarters. And that's as simple as it gets. So my answer is just 3 quarters. So that's easy. What about 6 quarters? You might notice that this is the same as the warm-up. Literally the same problem. If I have 6/4, first of all, just listen to what I'm saying. I have 1/4 times 6, so 6/4. So I could just write that as 6/4 and then make sure that I get a mixed number that is simplified. But even without that, 6 sets of 1/4. Well, this is 1/4. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 sets of 1/4. So we have 6 pieces, and the size of the pieces is fourths, 6/4. We also have 1 whole and 2/4, which is the same as saying 1 whole and 1/2. So we have 1.5 as our simplified answer. So I get that by merging 2 pieces together, so dividing by 2, 1/2. Could have done that here. Divide by 2, and I get 6 divided by 2 is 3, 4 divided by 2 is 2, 3 halves. 2 out of 2 is 1 whole, so I take the 2 out of 2 away, and I have 1 out of 2 left. 1.5. And it gets a little bit harder when you have a bigger number on a bigger numerator instead of 1. So now we have 4 sets of 3/5. So the easiest way to draw this, of course, would just be, well, let me draw fifths. Let me color in 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. And then let me duplicate that. So that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, and that's 4. So now these are still fifths, of course, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them. 12 fifths, which is more than 1. But the thing is, it's hard to tell exactly how many because we have it split up this way. A better way to do it would be to take your fifths and I'm going to go ahead and make extra because I know that it's going to be more than 1 whole. And say, okay, well, I need 4 sets of 3/5. So this is 1 set, 1, 2, 3. The second set, 1, 2, 3. The third set, 1, 2, 3. And then the fourth set, 1, would you color? 2, 3. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sets, and each of the sets is 3/5. But I put them all together. So there's none of this extra space here. And I have 2 wholes and 2/5. And that's actually already simplified. So what I'm saying is that 12/5 is the same as 2 wholes and 2/5. Basically, 5 out of 5 is 1 whole. So 10/5 would be 2 wholes. So I take my 2 wholes out, my 10/5, and 12 minus 10 is 2/5 left over. 2 and 2/5. And I ended up with 12 pieces. 4 times 3 is 12. So let's see if that works for the next one. It's 4 times 3/10. So it's the same sort of idea, except now I have tenths instead of fifths. So I have like this. Let me draw 2 of them just in case I need it, and I can draw another one if I need it later. So 1 set is 3/5 tenths. 1, 2, 3. 3/10, 3 out of 10. But I need 4 sets, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I still have, that's 5, 10, 12. I still have 12 pieces. But now that's 12 pieces out of 10 total pieces. So I only have 2 extra pieces and 1 whole. So we have 1 whole filled in and 2/10 left over. Okay? So 4 times 3 is 12/5, and 4 times 3 is 12/10. So that's 1 and 2/10, and 1 and 2/10 can be simplified because I can divide this they're both even, so I'm going to put even pieces together, like so. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and there's a total of 5 pieces, and one of them is filled in. So this is 1 1/5. Divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 1 1/5. So what we do to multiply a fraction by whole number is that we multiply the whole number by the numerator of the fraction, then simplify and or convert to a mixed number if necessary. Then we have some practice questions. You should get, I'm not going to do any pictures or anything, 5 times 7 is 35 over 8. And I can get wholes out of there, 8 out of 8, 4 times, which would be 8 times 4 is 32. So 32 pieces. So I have 4 wholes, and then 35 minus the 32 pieces that I'm taking out from my 4 wholes gives me 3/8, and that's already simplified. 4 and 3/8. 9 times 7 is 63, and that's 20ths. 20 would make 60 3 times. 3 times 20 is 60, and that leaves me 3 pieces left over, 3 out of 20, which is simplified. 3 and 3 out of 20. Then we have fractions of fractions. So, this is 1/3 of 3/4, 1/3 of 3/4. So let's draw 3/4, because I'm saying that it's 1/3 of that. So 3/4 would look like this. 1, 2, 3. I need 1/3 of that. Well, 1/3 is, if you have 3 pieces, you'd fill one of them in. So I have 3 pieces that are colored in. So what I need is one of those 3. So 1/3 of 3/4 is actually 1/12. Sorry, 1/4. Third, fourth. Sorry, had a little brain explosion there. Anyway, 1/4. 1/3 of 3/4 is 1/4. Because I take the 3 pieces that are filled in and I only need one of them, so it's 1/4. But that's the simplified answer. We're going to see when we get into more complicated ones the quick and easy way to solve this problem. Let's first do 1/2 of 2/9. So 2/9 is what we're working with, so I need 9 pieces with 2 filled in, and I need 1 out of the 2. So 1 out of the 2 would be 1/9. Okay, this is pretty easy because, the reason it's easy is because the bottom of this fraction is the same as the top of this fraction. The denominator and the numerator are the same, and that's true for both of these. That's the reason that these are so easy to solve. It's not always this easy. We're going to see that with the next one. Now we have 1/2 of 3/4. That's harder. 1/2 of 3/4. So let's see. 3/4 is the same as before. So let's fill in 3/4. But we need half of that. And the problem is that 3 doesn't split in half evenly. So if we split it in half, it'd be like something like this. 1.5 out of 4. But we don't do decimals on top of fractions, so we need to find another way to write this. So what you do is, if you split one piece in half, it's not all equal pieces anymore. If we split one in half, we have to split all of them in half. So let's split all of them the same way. There. Now all of our pieces are equal sizes, but there are, instead of 4 of them, there are 1, 2. Oops, let me make sure I have these so that we can see them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 pieces now. 6 of them are shaded in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we can find half of 6. Half of 6 is 3. So let me make that bigger so that we can really see it. Okay, here we go. Alright, so we have 3/4. 2, 3. But we can't take half of 3 and have a whole number. So what we did was we split all of the pieces in half to make more pieces, to make sure that they're the same size. So now we have 8 pieces. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6 of them are filled in because 3/4 is the same as 6/8. But then we can take half of 6. Half of 6 would be 1, 2, 3. And that's half of the pieces that are shaded in. So we end up with 3 out of 8. So our answer is 3 out of 8. So 1/2 times 3/4 is 3/8. Let's look at the next one. We have 1/4 of 1/9. So 9 pieces looks like this. And we have 1 of them filled in. But we don't have 4 pieces to take 1 of, so we have to make it 4 pieces to take 1 of. So if we split this 1 piece into 4 pieces, we have to split all of them into 4 pieces. So I can't really draw it on this tiny little diagram, but basically what you're doing is there are 4 times as many pieces. So there's 4 of this, and then there's 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36 total pieces. So this is 4 out of 36, but we only need 1 of those, so it's 1 out of 36. We end up with 1 out of 36. And this is where you start to see your pattern. It's 1 times 1 is 1, and 4 times 9 is 36. 1 times 3 is 3, and 2 times 4 is 8. And here, if we do it that way, we can get to the same answer. We just have to simplify. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 9 is 18. Simplify by dividing by 2, and you get 1/9, same as our answer. Here, 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. Simplify by dividing by 3. We get 1/4, same as our answer here. So multiply across the top and across the bottom. Let's try that with this one. 2/5 times 5/10, which is basically the same as 2/5 times 1/2, but we'll get to that. 2 times 5 would be 10. 5 times 10 would be 50, which we could simplify by dividing by 10 and get 1/5. See on my picture, 2/5 of 5/10. Let's draw tenths. I'm going to make them a little bigger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that we can see what we're doing. So those are tenths. We have 5 of them, which is the same as half, like I said. We need 2 out of the 5, which we can actually do. Again, the numerator and the denominator of the opposite fractions are the same. So there are 5 pieces. I need 2 of them. So my answer is 2 out of 10, but that can be simplified down to 1/5. Because see, this is 2 out of 10, but we split this along lines like this, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces, and one of them is filled in. Okay, so multiply across, then simplify. 3/4 times 2/3. 3/4 of 2/3. 3 times 2 is 6, and 4 times 3 is 12. That's the same as 1/2. Let's see it on a picture. 3/4 of 2/3. Well, let's look at 2/3. There we go. 2/3. We need 3/4 of that. Well, we don't have 4 pieces, we have 2 pieces, but if I chop this in half, and remember I have to chop all of the pieces in half, now I have 4 pieces. Okay? So I need 3 of the 4, so I need 1, 2, 3. So that's 1, 2, 3 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. 3 out of 6, which is also 1/2. And it's also 6/12 if I divide along the lines this way too. Now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 total pieces, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are purple, shaded in purple. So 1/2. So the rule here is when you multiply a fraction by another fraction, you multiply the numerators, then you multiply the denominators, then simplify and or convert to a mixed number if necessary. And you shouldn't usually need to convert to a mixed number unless one of the fractions was improper. If it was improper, then you might need to convert. So, for your practice, I'm just going to quickly, 5 times 7 is 35, and 6 times 8 is 48. And that can't actually be simplified. Right. 3 times 7 is 21, and 4 times 20 is 80. And that actually can't be simplified either, so we can stop there. 1 times 3 is 3, and 5 times 8 is 40. That can't be simplified. 1 times 1 is 1, and 12 times 2 is 24. And that can't be simplified. That's it. That's our answer. Then we have an exit card, and then homework. And that's it for multiplying fractions. It can seem complicated, but the rule is really easy to remember. Just multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom, and simplify. The reason I don't just go straight to the rule is that I want you to understand why and how the rule works. So that's why we do all of these steps.